Welcome to NBA G League Ignite Takeover. I'm Gianna Hearn, and that's Mike Davis.
Great to see you, G. Coming up, we're talking about Ron Holland's resurgence. Plus, athletic freak Babacar Sane joins me for a one-on-one sit-down. And later, friend of the show and G League mastermind Jeffrey Kee, the King, returns. But first, let's dive into last night. Well, the Ignite fall to 0-13 and a tough loss to the Rip City Remix, 118-95, a team they defeated prior to the Winner's Showcase. Bright spots were Tyler Smith, who dropped 19 points off the bench, and London Johnson, who had 15 with 5 assists and 4 steals. Gianna, what's the biggest challenge facing this team right now?
You know, this team has had to deal with injuries, but they've dealt with a lot of roster changes. I mean, London wasn't in the starting lineup, and then we saw the veterans were out because of injury. So they're just dealing with a lot of shakeups, which isn't abnormal for G League teams in general, but for young men who are just learning this out of high school, It is. And so if you think about how many games they've played, it's not a lot in comparison to being a professional and how much experience you have.
Okay, now let's shift to head coach Jason Hart, and the lineup shifting this team is really experiencing, like you were just talking about. So how have the starting lineups changed in the recent games? I know you were telling me off camera, even the vets have had to take on such an offensive workload.
Yeah, Coach Hart was talking about he needs his vets to step up offensively, because when these young guys go to an NBA team, they're not going to be the 8 guys. I mean, that's the realistic portion of this. So if you're Ron Holland, you're not going to be taking every shot. If you end up on the Warriors somehow, you're going to be passing the ball, right? I mean, Steph's going to be open. So you have to learn that. Where are they open? How can I find them? So he needs people like John Jenkins, Pargo, all of them to step up and make their shots so that Ron can feel comfortable and say, hey, there's the guy, he's going to make that. Okay, and like you said, vets like Pargo, John Jenkins, Will Davis, they have all been stepping up. So while younger prospects are getting rest, we saw earlier in the season, a lot of the starting lineups had a ton of younger guys, so now there's a little bit more of that mix. What do you think moving forward for this team? Do you think there's going to be a little bit more balance in the lineups? How do you think they're going to be shifting this throughout the rest of the season? We've seen for the last 4 games that they've been sitting one young guy and one veteran, load management. But that's also because in January, they have 10 home games. That's just home games. They had 4 games in 6 days, and they've had 2 spurts of that already. Right. So load management is definitely a thing in general. But we're definitely going to see one young guy sit, and as you get closer to the draft, there's load management that has to happen because you want these guys to be drafted. That's the goal. So they can't be playing 40 minutes every night. Yeah, okay. I know some people don't like those 2 words, load management, but sometimes it has to happen. All right, so last thing here on Coach Hart. So you were interviewing Coach recently, and he mentioned to you that the word of the day was sensitivity. What is he talking about when he says the word of the day is sensitivity? There's a little bit of tough love going on with the coaching staff and with the veterans talking to the young guys. They want them to know that when we give you critiques and coaching, it's just that. We're not talking about your mama, Coach said. He wants these young guys to really take what they're saying, put it into their game, and mature. And so we're seeing some of those guys take that feedback and really put it into their game. Ron Holland, we'll talk about him more, but he's been one of those guys. Tyler Smith, he's been the guy since the beginning that Coach said has been so coachable. That's why you see his game change. But he doesn't want them to take these comments sensitively. So he said, that's the word of the day. Let's move past it. All right, I love it. And we've seen everything Tyler Smith has been doing on the floor from the get-go. So that's great stuff. Now, one guy who's leaving opposing players feeling a little sensitive, that's Babacar Sane, especially when he posterizes them. The 20-year-old athletic freak from Senegal continues to leave his mark on the floor, most recently dropping 17 points, matching his career high against the Stockton Kings on January 20th. Plus, last night, he had 15 and 7 boards. Gianna, what has this human highlight reel done to develop his game even further this season, his second season with Ignite? He's only played 7 games this season due to injury. But in his off time, I went to several practices. He was really just putting in the work of what professionals do when they have an injury. So now we're seeing that really play out for him in the games when he's come back. He's immediately interjected energy into this team, which we've missed from Eric Mika. We don't have a traditional big man in. Monza, he is young and his game is very much different than Mika. So having someone like Babacar come in, bring his athleticism, bring his size, it has been a nice change for the team. So I look forward to see what Baba can do because he really caught scouts their eyes when they came to the preseason games. They went to practices. Baba had probably the best practice out of all of them. Wow. So now having him come back, it's really good to see him. It's really striking to watch him play up close. But now for you at home, it's time for you to meet
Babacar Sane.
Fargo, he'll find Sane from 3. Whoa! Babacar Sane!
Everybody says you got the greatest name on the team. I mean, tell us about this great name. You said your name's Baba too.
Yeah.
You don't do Babacar?
Yeah, they call like my name is Babacar, but I think it's easily for them calling me Baba because sometimes some people have a problem pronouncing Babacar.
I love it. I think it's a great name. Babacar Sane, you are 20 years old. For your second season with the Ignite, tell us a little bit about what your first year with the Ignite was like.
My first year, it was a lot of learning, code, the plays, the language. It wasn't that hard. I'm gonna say I was just focusing on learning, growing, understanding things, so it will be more easier for me this year.
Throwing it up, Babacar Sane. He's still got those bungees.
And this year, what do you expect from yourself as a person, as a player, with your growth this year as
I
year
accept
2?
myself, go out there, show the world what I can do, that I got better. I've been working, I've been in the gym, in the weight room, so I can show the world what I've been working on,
20 years old, tell us a little bit about your game on the floor. Who do you try to emulate growing up? Who did you kind of want to be like?
Growing up, we all watched LeBron James, I must say, been watching his game, what he been doing for years, learning from him, except even though I have other players I'm a watch. So, LeBron James is one of the best players. So.
And prior to Ignite, you went to high school at NBA Academy Africa.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us about that experience there, and because I know you even had teammates who were there as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience with NBA Academy Africa.
It's been great because they has helped me a lot in basketball, of course, as on court. Teach us how to be men, help us develop our game as a person too. The NBA Academy Africa is amazing, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was the best option for me. Being there as a man, learn, grow, develop, and take my game to the next level.
And growing up in Senegal, soccer is really what people play mostly, right? So how old were you when you started playing basketball?
I was 14, 15, something like that.
That's late.
Yeah, that's late. I started playing basketball late because I was playing soccer. Growing up in Senegal, everybody plays soccer.
And what has playing soccer helped you? How has soccer helped you on the basketball floor?
My footwork.
Footwork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at 14, 15, when you start playing basketball, what is it about basketball that you love so much?
Like having fun. I just love the game, playing it. I forget everything, the outside noise, and having fun doing what I love to do.
And after NBA Academy Africa, how did you choose Ignite? Why Ignite?
I think Ignite is the best program for me to take my game to the next level. I think I can get ready in here, prepare, grow, develop my game, so I can get to where I want to be.
And where do you want to be?
In the NBA now.
And what kind of player do you want to be in the NBA?
Amazing player. I can play defense, bring energy, make open shots, run the floor. I can do all, man.
Such a fan of that guy, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what he's going to do the next few games. We're just getting started on Ignite Takeover. Coming up, G League host Jeffrey Kee. He's back with us.
The King returns!
We're telling you everything you need to know about NBA G League up next game during All-Star Weekend. That's next. Welcome back to Ignite Takeover. We're joined by G League host Jeffrey Kee.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
The king has returned. That's what I say. Mr. Kee, it's great to have you back. But let's dive right in. So no one really is a bigger fan of the NBA All-Star Game than me.
Yep.
And I'm so excited that, the G League is involved in the All-Star Game and that whole fun weekend. Tell us a little bit about the G League's involvement when it comes to All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, the G League, back when it was the D League, we had basically an entire All-Star weekend. So we had an All-Star game, dunk contest, three-point contest. Then in 2017, when the league ended up becoming the G League, they got rid of it. And then last year, they brought it back as the next up game. And so it's basically 28 of the brightest stars in the G League. 10 are selected through a fan vote. 8 of the G League Ignite draft eligible prospects are going to be playing. And then 10 of the players are going to be selected by the G League. And so it's just an opportunity for us to really get our players on display. And you think about the G League is that the G League over the last few years has been like our lives, you know what I mean? Just working and everything. like that, but there's so many basketball fans that don't know about the G League, don't know any players, so it's a great opportunity for them to really showcase themselves, get their name out, and elevate their own status.
So this year it's called the Up Next game. A little switch from last year, but it's all about who's up next, and Ignite is really about that. The future stars of the NBA playing for Ignite. Why is this Up Next game a good opportunity for them specifically?
Oh, for a multitude of reasons. I would say number one, it's because a lot of basketball fans still don't know about Ignite. It's relatively young, just in its 4th year, so a lot of fans are still getting used to, seeing these guys, or maybe haven't seen them at all. So it'll be their first introduction to Ignite, to Ron, to Modest, and all those guys. Even though Ignite has produced, 10 draft picks, right? So a lot of people still don't know about it. I would say number two is, a lot of times in All-Star games, players don't play 100%, and that's kind of normal. But it's an opportunity for the Ignite guys to showcase that they can, basically play on the biggest stage and at their showtime, right? They're not afraid of the bright lights. I think that's very important. And then number three, Ignite's been on a little bit of a slump lately, and I think that it's a big rejuvenation for them going to All-Star. I remember last year talking to Leonard, talking to City, and they were talking about how, just going to All-Star and experiencing that, it was so good for their mental, so good for their confidence. And so, and we saw that with their performance too. So last year, City averaged about 10 points per game before All-Star weekend, 15 points per game afterward. Leonard was 13 or 14 points per game before, and then 21 and 13 afterwards.
See, that's interesting. Now, last year's activities and festivities it had, Scoot Henderson with Ignite going up against Team Luka Garza with the Iowa Wolves. So this year, do you have any inclination of who would be leading the charge with those two respective teams for this to go around?
Well, this time there's 4 content creator GMs. So the players will be selected, and the GMs will draft the players.
Okay,
and
so they're not doing it like the way the All-Star game used to be East versus West, but then they went to players and captains. This year it's going to be different.
Yeah, so this year it's a tournament style format. So there'll be 4 teams, and they'll kind of compete against each other for a championship. And so I kind of like that. It makes it a little more competitive and everything.
Okay, see, interesting.
It definitely will. Well, Jeff, you get to do something very unique. You're going to be following Ignite their entire time at All-Star Weekend. So what are you most looking forward to behind the scenes? Because I know you get to do a lot of cool stuff.
It'll be an amazing experience. Just being at All-Star in itself is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So the fact that I get to go for a 2nd year and follow Ignite around, just getting all that access, because Ignite, they're going to give them, the royal treatment, right? So they'll be meeting the star players. They'll be at all the main events. We did, last year we did community service events, so I followed the team around, and they stuffed backpacks, so we'll be doing all that again, and all through the media circuits as well. So all that access for just a basketball fanatic is the dream come true.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Can we mention Jeff's pants? I don't know if anyone can actually see them, but when we talk about Jeff being the king, no one reps the G League quite like Jeff.
You know what? Just stand up.
Can you guys see this
for a second?
Can you guys see that?
Do a little side-to-side action. He has all of the logos of the G League teams.
I love it.
Where's Ignite featured on this?
Ignite's somewhere on here. They might be on the side, but it has.
I hope it's not on the butt.
No, I don't know.
Actually, I think it's right there.
Is it?
Side of the knee.
There you
See
go.
that right here. So it has all the teams on one leg. Then on this leg, it has the G League logo, and then the GOATs, their jerseys on the
This
other
is
leg.
a local artist here in Vegas, right?
Yeah. So shout out to my boy Mason. He made these for me. So anytime you guys need something custom, hit him up.
Wow, I need a 32-32 on those. And you know what the thing is? I hate to say it, I just feel like I'm your professor and you're my student.
It feels that way.
Look at our getup right here.
I still think it's a good pairing.
It is.
I'm going to give you a gold star for today.
I'll say this, sorry, Mom, because my mom's going to watch this. She's like, why'd you wear that? I'm sorry, Mom, but it's part of the swag.
Last question for you, very critical. I don't know if you're limber enough. Can you lift up your shoes real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Show us the one with
Show us the tag.
The tag. See,
you guys see that?
Off-whites with the tag. Yes or no? Can I put I don't have any off-whites because I'm not cool enough. Can I just put a tag on a pair of Skechers?
I don't know. I feel like the young generation, they be clowning Mike for it. Mike would be going viral on social media for that.
Jeff says the young generation, but he really means he would be clowning.
Yeah. I'll be posting that online.
He's the king. We bow to you, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us and gracing us with your presence. Guys, coming up after a short break, guess what? It's time for Thunder Rumblings.
We're talking about Ron Holland and his resurgence. That's after the break.
Do you hear that? Yeah, it's time for Thunder Rumblings. That's what that is. This week, we're breaking down the resurgence of top prospect Ron Holland. Now, not only does he lead the G League in steals, but in his past 5 games, Holland has scored 15, 25, 24, 21, and 30 points respectively. In one of those games against the Stockton Kings, he was 2 assists away from a triple-double. Gianna, what do you think sparked this transformation in his play?
You know, we talked earlier in this show about Coach Hart giving some tough love to their guys, but Ron has really taken the critique and criticism from the coaches and the vets and really translated that into a better, more well-rounded game. You know, he's not going to shoot the ball every single time when he's in the NBA. So he's like, you know what? I'll be more efficient with my shooting, but I'm going to be elite at defense, which I was already showing, and I'm going to pass the ball, and I'm going to have steals, and I'm going to rebound offensively and defensively. So what he's done is really respond to what the coaches have told him and what he's already felt in himself that he wanted to get better at.
See, that's a great thing. You even mentioned his efficiency has even gone through the roof, a lot better than it was earlier in the season. But let's stay on our dude right now, Ron Holland.
Yeah, he's the focus of this week on Inside the Pro Lab. Let's take a look.
You know what time it is, Fan Fest. Turn up the fans, turn up the fans.
Things that Ron has that you can't teach is the fact that he walks out there with the mental toughness, and everyone's not a natural born leader. He's a natural born leader. He walks out there understanding and growing in that aspect every single day.
Ron is a very elastic athlete, so we're trying to add a little bit of muscle mass to him. And then also improving strength. He wants to use his explosiveness.
Because you are who you are, and you're gonna have more freedom. You get one of these, one way you can do this, and then go. You don't get 3. So every time you get 3, that man in the low box, he gonna be there on time.
They get a chance to set up.
Exactly. This man here, he gonna be at the near. This guy here, he has to run the lane.
Yeah.
So earlier you go, the easier it is.
Things I've tried to be for Ron is a leader, I guess you can say older brother, because I am a lot older and I've experienced a lot of things that he's going to go through. I'm just trying to be here and be whatever I can to help him get to where he wants to go, and obviously be successful once he gets there.
We're both trying to make it, you know, and we helping each other through this tough path that we got to become successful. Just playing together on the court, you know, it's always a blessing to be on the court with another good player.
When you initially made the decision to do this instead of college, why was that the right decision at that time?
I was looking for certain things that I was going through in my next step in life, and this program had everything I was looking for. It was just, what better way to teach you than how to be a pro than a pro? Literally, it's every single thing I do from when I wake up in the morning to when I go to sleep at night. Everything I do matters, and it's all about just managing the schedule and making sure everything I do benefits my career.
Ron Holland showing you the smooth jumper. That's what the scouts want to see at Usher. But Holland all alone. It's showtime.
He is a highlight film waiting to happen, that young man.
Get out the way. Ron Holland coming through. Coach, he's already projected as a lottery pick here.
The chance or opportunity to be the first pick overall is it's actually mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I don't understand how you handle something of that nature, but he's been doing a really good job at, of growing up fast. He's a lot more mature than a lot of people would expect at a young age of 18. It takes to achieve being a #1 pick or a top 5 pick or whatever. One is confidence, belief in yourself, belief in everything that's being put around you is for the greater good. Ron has shown to prove that he's that guy is that his growth from day one to now. We're here, we're 4 months into the season, and all of the young guys coming from high school, you're a deer in headlights. Walking into the G League, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And he's handling it like an adult. And like I said, for an 18-year-old kid to be able to do that, it's unbelievable. Like a pro, and I'm proud of him for it. Ron, we're going to get you better at it, though, because we got to go.
All right, so good stuff there. So Gianna, at this point, has Ron cemented himself as a top 3 in next year's NBA draft?
That is such a tough question because it's always ebbing and flowing, and you want me to give you a real answer here. So Ron Holland has definitely made a case for himself, and we talked about All-Stars coming up. That's when people round the corner and really take notice by all the draft experts, but not just them, by GMs of teams. Yeah. So Ron, he's ready, but he needs to do some stuff at All-Star and beyond.
All right, there's still some work to do. All right, guys, stick around because we got more Ignite Takeover after a short break. Welcome back to NBA G League Ignite Takeover. There's ample opportunity to see the Ignite in action in your own backyard.
The next home games for the squad at the Dollar Loan Center Arena are Monday, January 29th versus the Oklahoma City Blue, and Wednesday, January 31st versus the Iowa Wolves.
What do you see in those matchups, G?
Man, first they got to just take on the remix again, which they had a tough time on the first one, but I think it's just going to be fun. Ignite is starting, I've said this a billion times, to round the corner. I need to put that on a shirt. But with Eric Mika coming back in February, I think things will change. And we'll see some. We need a big guy down there. We need a big guy.
He brings a lot of that veteran presence, a great leader in that locker room. Now, you guys can actually see the future stars of the NBA right now. What's the best way to do that? The best way to get tickets is to visit ignite.gleague.nba.com. A lot of dots there. Now, you can scan that QR code you see on your screen right now. It's on the top left corner. Make sure you just use that QR code and you can get single game tickets. And if you can't make it, well, the best way to watch the Ignite's next game is on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. That's on Monday, January 29th at 7 p.m. You can watch that on channel 5.2 over the air and Cox Cable Channel 125.
And you know, they're always making it a show. They had Lucha Libre Wrestling, $1 beers, $2 margaritas. They always make it a cool show.
Hey,
I know
a Marvel game I saw.
They had a Marvel game. They gave out comics with Ignite players in Marvel. It's ridiculous. You got to check it out.
I got to get my hands on one of those things. I have a feeling Jeff Kee's got a copy of that for me. I gotta talk to him after the show.
He probably has it autographed by every player. Past players.
He's got it on his jeans too. Listen, guys, thank you so much to Jeff Kee. Thank you guys for watching. That's it from us on G League Ignite Takeover.
We'll see you next time.